YouTube, Awesome Writer here. Welcome to my review for episode 32 of Gozyuger, where it seems stuff is finally happening. I mean, I know we just had kind of a big arc with Yellow leaving, with Ryuki leaving, but they handled that so strangely and swept it under the rug so fast that I can't help but worry that this will also be over by the next episode or after that. But it definitely felt the most like an episode we would have this late in the series. Like, we're not within 10 episodes of the series, but usually by the 30s, it feels like a lot more significant big moments have happened, and this felt like one of those moments where you have a lot of stuff happening at once. I still have some mixed feelings on the delivery, and again, I have some worries that after next week, we're just gonna go back to focusing on no one filler episodes, but at least right now, this felt like an episode more comfortable in the 30s. We start off with actually having some final reveals, not final reveals, but finally getting to reveals about Riku's past, what is his name? Riku's past with Rei, kind of fully detailing things out about how they grew up together and he kind of saved his life. And I really liked all this stuff in terms of I kind of laid everything out, and I liked that it kind of subverted my initial expectations of when we first found out, like, oh, he has the gray eyes. Initially, I thought it was going to be something like Riku did it or something, or he was involved, or it was his brother, but it turns out he just had the gray eyes in his early covers because he wanted to emulate his idol, which I thought was just kind of a neat twist, because I think Rei being his brother would be kind of cliche, although admittedly this kind of mentor relationship they have is also cliche, but I did kind of like that, and it kind of tied everything to what's going on with Sumino and him trying to cure himself and all that, and I thought that was really well done. It didn't feel sudden or anything because we've been building that a long time. What did feel weird is this focus on Shining Knife and, what's her name? Shortcakes? Strawberry Shortcakes or Sweet Cakes or whatever. Honestly, I feel like we've almost never seen this character around. I mean, I feel like we've seen them around, but I feel like they haven't gotten any focus compared to like Fire Candle or Bouquet, where like all of a sudden this focus feels out of nowhere. They kind of feel like the villain version of the mother and son that own the cafe. They're around more, like we see them more, but maybe it's just me because Gozyuger's been so busy and weird and I've been focusing on other stuff. I don't remember them getting any other spotlight in terms of character. So I kind of wish that what they did here with them in revealing their backstory would have been a different episode, because it does wind up playing into the twist. I'm like, so this does tie together, but it still felt odd where we had this episode that they could have just dialed in and focused on the story stuff, which they are a part of it, but they're doing this weird, we want to get a divorce story, and they do this origin of them, which was kind of nice, but I kind of wish this episode had happened a little bit earlier and then you had the payoff here, because it felt like everything was kind of smushed together, but at least it was kind of interesting there. And then when you get to the fight with Rei and you have Riku sacrificing himself at the end for Sumino, which is kind of a big moment because she's kind of like, you know, pushing him out of the way the whole episode because she's like, I don't care, I just want my sister back. But it's a good fight, but you have this big reveal that happens here where you have Tegajun revealing that some of the cataclysm from the initial event have survived and they're out in the world, and one of them is in Shining Knife and the other one is somehow bonded with Rei. And I believe, again, it's been so long since we had that initial episode 0, I believe these are the weird Terminator bots, because initially I was like, oh, there's a different enemy. It's like the Flood, or that weird enemy they teased at the end of Halo Infinite they're never going to follow up on. And then I'm like, oh wait, is that from episode 0? Again, because it's been so long since then. It's so weird with Gozyuger because it feels like not a lot has happened, but at the same time it feels like it's been so long since episode 0, but I'm like, this is the interesting development, I really like this, and now I'm fully expecting, honestly, Tegajun and everybody to team up with our heroes by the end, mainly because you do kind of have this weird connection set up between Tegajun and Tegasword, and also Fire Candle and Bouquet are both villains perfect for redemption, and same thing with the dual villain here with Shining Knife, because they very much have an energy that reminds me of characters in Gozyuger, so I could totally see them joining forces against the real enemy, and you have this big moment where I believe his name is Bellum comes out of Rei, so this was really cool. This felt like really good stuff that I hope leads to more. Like, it got me actually excited for next week. We got the power-up next week, and I just hope that they keep this momentum. I don't expect us to never have another kind of low-key, silly filler episode again, but I really hope that this kind of carries a momentum for the last 20 episodes where we dial in a little bit more, because I want more of this. I want more of this show that we're seeing here, where there's more reveals going on, more plot revelations. I still think that at the end of the day, even if Gozyuger picks up, there's going to be so much missed potential in the series overall, but I really liked what we saw here. The only real complaint I had was the weird focus on the dual villain. Not because they didn't tie into it, but just the way it was handled felt like it should have been its separate episode, especially with like some of the antics and stuff. It felt like this weird part of another filler episode that could have been its own thing that would have built up to this, shoved into this episode. Other than that, everything else was pretty good by Gozyuger standards, but even better than that. Like I said, last week's was good by Gozyuger standards, but I think this was better, and I hope we are going uphill from here. But what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments as always. Until next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.